You hear a lot of talk about alpha males and how they run shit and how they're aggressive and how they're sometimes overly confident and leaders and a bunch of stuff like that. And you also hear a lot of negative things about beta males, usually from these guys proclaiming themselves to be alphas. But what I want to talk about today is the types of there's these major profiles, shall we say, of alpha, beta, and we're also going to talk about the omega males. And I don't mean the omega frat. I'm talking about this designation as in the Greek alphabet. And you got to remember, alpha and beta are the first two letters of the Greek alphabet, and omega is the last one. And so these guys are the last in pretty much everything that happens socially and sexually in relationships and with women. But I'm going to give you some details. Now, I want to talk first about alphas. Now, a lot of ladies think that, all these guys are the tall, good looking ones that, are basically whores because they get all their pickup women and all this kind of stuff. That's not necessarily true. And I want to make this differentiation early in this video because just like there are highs and lows of different personality traits, highs and lows of astrology signs, there are also high and lows of these typical designations of males. So you can have a guy who's a high functioning alpha, he's going to represent the very best traits of that particular category. And then there's going to be the low end where he represents the worst. The same with the beta and same with the omegas. Although the omegas, even if you're a high level omega, you're still a fucking loser. And so you just lose less than the other dudes, which I don't know, that's really nothing to brag about. But let's go over this. Let's begin with the alpha guys. Now, some of them are, like I said, the tall, good looking guys. They may be actors, they may be models, they may be the guy that all the women see as successful and handsome and sexy and all those kinds of things. But the main trait that makes an alpha male an alpha isn't what he looks like. It's his confidence. That's the number one trait that they have. So he can be short and funny looking, but he exudes such confidence, such a sense of self mastery and power that he is someone who both males and females like to be around. He's just like the epitome of masculinity. These guys are usually very socially adept. They're charming. They get invited a lot of places. They get opportunities presented to them because people like them. They tend to be the take charge type. So if there's a group setting, what they call a collaborative project, he's going to be the one who steps forward and takes a leadership position. Not because he demands it, but because people can see that he has the qualities to successfully run the shit. Now, where it comes sexually, these guys, excuse me, tend to be the ones that get the tens. They get the women who are at the top of the food chain, the women who are the most gorgeous, the most educated, the most successful, the ones that all the other guys look at with envy when he has this woman on his arm. Think about, what's that guy? The chick that used to be in the Spice Girls and her husband. She's an alpha female and he's an alpha male. And together, Victoria, whatever her name is, and her honey, between the two of them, they got it going on. I think the thing that makes alpha males so attractive is that they are the leaders, they're trendsetters. They're not afraid to step out and go against the grain. They don't have to be like everyone else. They're not like everyone else. But they do it in such a way that is so stylish that other people want to emulate them. That's the difference between them and the beta males and omegas they just lost. So, they'll mix stuff together and they'll do stuff and they have different ways of presenting themselves that are so unique, but it works for them. It works. they have a presence that is just like when they enter a room, people take notice. Um, these guys aren't afraid to take risks. They aren't afraid to go against the grain. They aren't afraid to look at stuff in a new and different way. And if they aren't successful, they just pick themselves up and keep rolling with it. They don't get it and have a pity party about it. And the most attractive thing to them, about them rather, to women, is that they approach. They know how to talk to you. They know how to treat you. Do it in a way that makes you feel good to give them what it is that they want. And that is where the charm comes in. They don't have to wheedle, beg, and manipulate, cajole, and all that kind of stuff like some of the other dudes do. Women gladly and happily sleep with them. And these are the types of guys that the beta and omega dudes hate the most and say are all players and thugs, which is absolutely not true. Even if that is their their physical persona, or even if they are those things, it doesn't matter because they can take those clothes off and put on a three-piece Brooks Brothers suit any day and become a mover and shaker in corporate America because they had that kind of skill set. So if you are a woman and you're not an alpha female, you can't handle an alpha male. I'm gonna tell you right now. Those of you who think that you can get this kind of dude and hang on to him, and you kind of, and I don't mean to put you down. I mean, this is a reality check for people. You kind of basic. You're just boring. You don't have no hobbies. You don't have no interests. Your thing is your man going to work and your kids. You like to cook, you like to clean, and you like to watch TV and maybe go to church. That's your life. Okay, that's fine if that works for you. I'm not putting it down. I'm just telling you, if you are that kind of woman, understand the personality that you have and how your life is run, and understand that an alpha male's out of your league. You'll never keep his attention. He'll dip and dab with you for a hot minute, and then he'll be gone to somebody who's more interesting and exciting because you're not it. You're not that kind of woman. And like I said, I don't want you to feel bad about it. This is a thing where we're going to do an assessment of ourselves as well as the kind of men that we've been involved in, and try to figure out where we have gone wrong. In order to keep the attention of an alpha male, you got to have your shit together. You have to be gorgeous. You have to be, like physically in shape. You have to have your confidence. You can't be struggling with your self-esteem and doubting yourself and picking on yourself and all that kind of stuff. You got to come with your A game if you're going to be dealing with an alpha dude. And most of the women in America these days do not have that skill set. And so that's why you get with these dudes that's out of your league, and then you get burnt because they just were never meant for you to begin with. Um, they're just kind of a special breed. That's all I can say. If you can, if you got it going on that level, you're alpha female and you can deal with an alpha male and his fucked up attitude. With the low ones definitely have a fucked up attitude. The ones who are on the high end of the spectrum are, like I said, well liked and adored, well respected leaders, and people just love them. They just love them and will follow them anywhere. That is the kind of guy that I think Barack Obama was. And unfortunately, what we have now in office is an Omega. Okay, now let's talk about the beta dudes. Now, some of these guys are really good looking. They may not be as socially dominant and respected as the alphas, but that most of them can kind of, if they're on the higher end of the beta scale, they can hold their own. They're attractive to women, but no woman would ever say, "Oh my God, he's so fine," and fall out. They're not on that level, but they may be like, let's consider them to be maybe an 8, 7 on the look scale. Some of them may even be 8.5 or whatever, but they're not 9s and they definitely not 10s. Um, some of them, I mean, they really like women generally. They just aren't necessarily that good with them. So most of these guys, the woman is the one who has to kind of take the lead and guide him into the relationship, or guide him into asking her. I mean, you got to do a lot of work with these types and kind of prop them up. These are the ones who take those classes and how to become pickup artists and how to talk to women and stuff like this. They admire the alpha males, and they want to be like them as far as their attractiveness to and their ability to get females, but they don't have it naturally, so they have to study for it and they have to pay for it. Now, when you're talking about black men, what do you have in the beta male? Because I think it's a little bit different. Just because our culture is different and the way that black males relate to women is different. Now, these are the dudes that will often, a woman will say, well, he's too nice. These are the passive dudes. These are the ones that let people run all over them. These are the ones who don't stand up for themselves at work, when they're getting bullied or there's some racially charged nonsense going on. They don't really, say anything. They just, I'm just going to let it go. I'm just going to, just deal with it, whatever. So you kind of lose respect for them because they don't really stand up for themselves. They may keep their job, which, is important to them. They want their security. But in the overall scheme of things, they're kind of passive, and they may come across as weak or too gentle or too something to where you get a little bit turned off. Not all the way, but just a little. You start giving them the side eye. So, but that basically means that they're insecure. These are the guys who get real jealous, who are afraid to talk to women, who's come up with all kind of excuses about why the woman is probably a gold digger. She's probably this, she's probably that. So basically what they do is talk themselves out of stepping up and, interacting with you because they're afraid. Some of them are the passive aggressive types. So, something will happen, right, and you hurt their feelings, and maybe even inadvertently. And the next thing you know, your tires are slashed, or he does some kind of weird post about you and put your picture or something. These are the ones who, like after you break up with them, they post nude videos and nude pictures of you on these websites, to try to get back at you. That passive aggressive. Instead of just saying, I hate you, bitch, you just, this and that, are going on about their business and not really saying anything like a damn man. They're the ones who want to, kind of get on there and talk about you, make videos about you and stuff like that. Just weak and stupid. They also have a follower mentality. They don't know how to lead shit. These are the ones saying, well, teach us how to lead. Motherfucker, who's going to teach? If I'm the leader, as an alpha female, I will always be the leader. Why the fuck you think I'm going to waste my time teaching you how to lead? It's like I'm trying to promote you to make me obsolete. What kind of fool would I be to do that? No, I'm running shit. You obviously don't know how, and you ain't good at it. So why should I hand the reins over to you so everything can run amok and run off a cliff? Fuck that shit. Not happening, Captain. So another trait with these beta males is they whine. They have little to no control over their emotions. These motherfuckers cry like goddamn toddlers. You've heard me talk about them on various videos. And that's, the low end dudes. Like I said, there's high and lows of each one of these. So like somebody who's the passive aggressive sniper type, well, he may, be the one who's on the higher end of the scale. His feelings will be hurt, but he's not going to, do some low level passive aggressive bullshit. He may send you a letter about it later or something. He's going to tell you, but it's not going to be in a way that's trying to necessarily dog you out publicly. But he may not tell you right then. So it's a little bit passive in his response, but he's not the sniper type. So you see what I mean? There's these traits apply to all betas, but how they manifest is going to be different for the high level betas that's almost an alpha to the low level betas that's almost an omega. So there's a scale here. So you'll see these traits in males represented somewhere on the scale to like super heavy passive aggressive to just maybe a little bit passive, but they don't tend to be they might make an effort to jog every now and then, or they play basketball every now and then, or they play on some softball team or something, but they tend to have a belly. Some of them have moves. They're a little overweight. They don't really have muscles in their chest and arms and back. They're all right, I guess, but if you're a woman who likes a dude with a nice, tight, firm body, he ain't it. Most of these guys will like you, and they will tend to like a woman that's out of their league. They do very well with women in the, say, 6.5 to 8.5 range. But once they step outside of that, see, then they're out their league. And the ones underneath that tend to go more for the omega dudes, who are the, ultimate loser types. But the beta males, as long as they stay in their range, stay in their envelope, they can get a woman, they can have sex, they can have children, a family, a wife, and live happily ever after. The key with them is to understand what type of woman they qualify for. And like I said, for you ladies, this requires you to honestly assess yourself. Look in the mirror, look at your body, what you working with. And then, don't be trying to go out your league. That's how you get your feelings hurt. That's how you get used and abused and fucked up and left with some baby by some motherfucker that you shouldn't have been messing with in the first place because he wasn't on your level. He was either too low or too high. These beta males tend to be the needy and clingy types. They just like, oh my God. I remember this one woman I met named Diane something, and she's married to this dude. This dude used to follow her around like a goddamn puppy, just like rubbing on her and touching her and stuff. And I'm thinking he must have not have got any nurturing when he was a child at all. I mean, just looking at him touching her like that got on my nerves. I don't know how she could stand it. But he was very needy, very emotionally clingy. Some of these guys are the nerdy, geeky types. That in itself isn't bad because then they can turn out to be software engineers and different stuff. I mean, they can make a lot of money. They invent things, they create things, and those are the high level ones. But there are others. They tend to be very awkward. He might be very smart, but he doesn't know necessarily. He may say inappropriate things in social settings and kind of embarrass you because he doesn't really know what to do or how to do it. These guys, though, can be trained. You can educate them to where they turn out okay. Um, they're not real high in sex appeal. Like I said, not like the alphas. They're not, but you're not gonna necessarily say he's ugly, but he's not gonna be the first thing you look at. You won't be like, ooh, like I said, he's so handsome, he's so fine, ooh, he's so, so great looking. You'll never say that about him. You just be like, oh, he's cool, he's all right, he's nice looking, I guess. That's more the kind of attitude that women have about the beta guys. And most of them would probably, once a woman gets the wildness out of her system, make a great husband. They're going to be more devoted and more family oriented. This, I think, is the majority of males. But like I said, you want to pick a guy who's on the mid to high level of this range. You do not want to get with the dude who's a low level beta with, who's got the negative side of all these traits that I just rattled off. You don't want that dude. You want to leave him alone. You can't fix him. There's nothing about him that you can work with. There's nothing you can do with that. So you leave that type alone unless you just want to be tortured. These are the ones who get angry. They're like, well, yeah, now that these women been all run through, now they want to come and be with us. Damn Skippy. Because your ass was not sexy. You was not cute. Nothing about you was what she wanted in her early 20s. So, women go for excitement. And by the time she figures out that that's not really what she wants to do, then she's going to settle down and look for somebody who's a little bit more stable. Now, if you're going to be mad about it, that's when your passive aggressive little sniper side is going to come out. Then you can just be with nobody. I mean, what you want here. So it's not like, everybody's a virgin and shit. You're 25, 30 years old. Shut the fuck up. Be happy somebody wants your stupid ass at all. Okay, now we talk about the omega dudes. These are the dudes that are fucked up in the head. The majority of the black males that you will find on YouTube, Blog Talk Radio, Facebook, and all these other social media outlets where they are ranting and raving and going off like fucking rockets about black women. These are omega males. These guys are creepy. They're scary. They're weird as fuck. Women call them weird, weirdos and stuff. Which they are. They are social outcasts. Nobody wants to be around them. They don't have any friends. They don't have any girlfriend. They can't even look at pussy unless it's on a computer screen or in a magazine. That's how rejected they are by women because they're weird as fuck. A lot of them are virgins at 30 and 40 years old unless they paid a hooker because don't no woman want them. I mean, the creepiness just exudes from their pores. Yet they have this belief that they are entitled to women. That's like they feel like because they went to school and they have an education, and some of them, might have a job or whatever, even though they're fat and ugly, pimply faced, and hair is greasy and looking stupid, had bald spots at 25, all kind of weird shit going on. They feel like because they went to school and they're basic men, that they deserve to have a 10 woman because, in their mind, their imagination, this was what they used to jack off to when they was little. And now they think that this should become reality now that they're, in their 30s. But of course, that doesn't happen. It's not going to happen. A lot of them are so delusional, they feel like they're superior to other men, that they have all these qualities that women should be falling down, knocking their door down to be with them. Again, delusional. Another unattractive trait about this type is that they avoid any and all responsibility and accountability for their behavior. They blame women and other people for everything. They don't take responsibility for shit. And it's just the most amazing thing. And it's like, who do you think wants to be with you when you act like that? No woman wants a man who's not going to be taking responsibility. You're going to be a husband and a father. That means that you're instantly in a role of looking to be responsible. She's looking for you to be responsible. And you dodging responsibility before she even knows your name, motherfucker, you never going to get picked. Never, ever. It's not going to happen. Not in this lifetime or your next. A lot of these guys basically hate women. These are the dudes that go on these campuses and want to shoot up all the sororities and sorority girls, and all the women just walk down and just shooting up women and all this old stuff, going up and down the street spitting on women and all, hitting women and snatching little girls up and selling them into sex trafficking and all that kind of stuff. Because in essence, they actually hate women. They really resent women. When they think about women, they fly into homicidal rage. So they do everything they can to use you, diminish you, demean and disgrace you, and hurt you. That is an omega male. That's exactly what you're going to run into. A lot of these guys have been bullied when they were in school. They were sexually molested by other men. And of course they're angry about that. They feel like their mother should have protected them when she didn't. And so they're angry at her for that. A lot of them are very obsessive about their interest in women. These are the types of dudes that become stalkers. They want to chase you down and spy on your house and call you 55 million times a day and fly into jealous rages and all this stuff. If they get a girlfriend, they become like obsessed with her. So, you better really check a dude out before you decide that you're going to, go out with him more than even one time. Because these kind, if you got out with them even once, they figure that you're in love and they start planning a wedding. And you decide you don't want to see them anymore. They're going to fly into just this rage and talk about how you rejected them and all women are trash and all this kind of stuff. They're really whack jobs. Now you'll notice when you look at them that they have a very poor fashion sense. Their clothes, they don't look real put together. They dress weird, or they all, they got their pants all hanging down with showing their ass and their underwear, that sagging thing, and they just look nasty, just look unkempt, ill groomed. I mean, they just, it's hard for them to get a job because they just have no real social skills. These guys are basically just the dregs of society and losers. They know they're losers. And they know that they can't get a woman unless they pay. But yet, they're all on YouTube making video after video, ranting and raving at women about why women should be with them. So those are my assessments, judging by what I have, what I have viewed on social media over the last 10, 15 years of how black males present themselves in these three categories: alpha, beta, and omega. I'm sure that if you talk to some white guys, they probably have a slightly different take on it. That's fine, because the majority of black women deal with black women. Not all, just the majority. Those figures are slowly creeping up in other directions, I think, as it should. If a black woman is, she got her shit together, she should definitely not limit herself by race. She should limit herself by the quality of the male. Aspire to be with a man who is on your level. And I don't care if the motherfucker's Martian. You know what I mean? You just have some cute little green ass babies. That's great. That's wonderful. Does he make you happy? Are you grinning like a Cheshire cat? If the answer to both of those questions is yes, then you got my blessings. Invite me to the wedding. That's all I get to say. But in this situation here, I think, a reality check is warranted for a lot of women who don't understand what they're working with, and they be trying to reach out their league, as well as these dudes who be trying to get a woman that's out their league. People will have way more success when they understand who and what they are, who, what they have to offer in a relationship, what they have to offer the opposite sex, and then work with what you are. If there's any way for you to improve your lot, maybe a wardrobe change, you take some classes, become a better conversationalist, learn some social skills somewhere, do something to improve yourself. If you're willing to take those steps, then yeah, you can raise up, and then you can have a bigger, broader pick of men or pick of women. But if you just don't really want to do that, you want someone who accepts you and loves you just the way that you are right now, then do your self-assessment, figure out which type of guy would work best for you, and then look for that type of guy, and then you'll be happy. Don't be going out your league. That's when you will end up in a bad situation, whether it's with a man who's below you or above you. Either way, it's not going to work out well for you. Of course, there's no guarantees, even if he is on your level, but the odds are better. Let's just put it that way. I'm a gambling person. I tend to go with what's going to give me the best odds to win. And in this situation, if you're a beta female, then you should go for a beta male, and so on and so forth. All right. Deb Cooper from survivingdating.com. I'll be back tomorrow with another video. Bye bye.